In the world of venomous snakes, not every hunt is aimed at other species. Sometimes, the most gruesome scenes occur between the very bearers of deadly venom themselves. A brief encounter, a moment of seizing the advantage, and the situation quickly tilts in favor of the one who strikes first. When predatory instinct, competition, and opportunity arise at the same time, deadly confrontations begin to unfold in silence. Welcome to the land of reptiles, where brutal hunts and gruesome cannibalistic purges of venomous snakes have been recorded.
Man, he's got bite. You can tell by the thickness.
Ringneck snake versus garter snake. Amidst the dense grass and rocky ground, a fierce tug-of-war is taking place.
Venom.
The ringneck snake, with its brilliantly orange belly clearly exposed, has coiled tightly around its target. The hunter completely masters the situation.
The ringneck snake.
Carrying within it a unique dual toxin system, it can both inject venom-causing blood coagulation disorders and store poison in its neck to counterattack enemies.
They're not eaten by other snakes.
The ringneck snake's venom belongs to the extremely strong hemotoxin group. It consumes all the coagulation factors in the victim's body. Currently, there is no specific antivenom for this snake species in the world. The struggling of the garter snake gradually weakens. Sensing that the prey is exhausted, it slowly loosens the constriction coils. The ringneck snake slithers along the body to find the victim's head. Swallowing from the head down helps the prey's scales fold close to the body, creating a smooth glide into the stomach. Brown snake versus black-headed pit viper. Even before breaking the shell, the survival instinct has flowed in the blood of the snake species. The tiny lives bearing the characteristic black stripe are straining to tear apart the tough shell to be born.
They will immediately have to fend.
Despite just being born, it already carries a complete venom gland and an extremely ferocious defensive instinct. However, the wilderness has no room for immaturity. Size and worldliness are exactly what determine life. Possessing one of the strongest neurotoxins in the world, the brown snake has sniffed out the target. Quick as a flash, it lunges forward, clamping tightly onto the victim without being the least bit afraid of the hatchling's venom. This is not simply a meal. This is how the ruthless hunter chokes off a competitive seed right on its territory. Each slow swallowing rhythm pushes the hatchling deep into the stomach, closing the grim ending named "The Strong Swallow the Weak." Brown snake versus tiger snake. On the ground covered with dry leaves, a life and death clash is taking place. The brown snake executes its signature attack. Despite having venom, it still prioritizes using constriction force to burst blood vessels and make the tiger snake's heart stop beating. The victim tries to roll over to reduce the pressure. However, the flexible vertebral structure allows the brown snake to maintain continuous compressing force on every position of the prey. The resisting efforts gradually become weak and disjointed, completely powerless before the one holding the upper hand. This desperate struggling has fully exposed the cruel law. The strong swallow the weak. The hunter patiently maintains the cold bite. The space sinks into silence, closing an inevitable outcome of the natural world. Inland taipan versus mouse. On the cracked desert wasteland, the inland taipan silently moves. The characteristic scales help it hide perfectly amidst the arid environment. A mouse hurriedly forages for food, then slips into a deep burrow. Not losing the trail, the snake follows the crevices, advancing straight into the dark underground burrow system. And it has found the very nest of the target. Cornered into a dead end, the mouse bears the full brunt of a thunderous strike. The inland taipan possesses the strongest venom among all terrestrial snake species. The amount of venom in a single bite is enough to finish off 250,000 mice at once. For the mouse, death comes almost instantly. The hunter slowly approaches, expands its jaws, and begins swallowing from the head. The muscle bundles contract continuously, step by step, pushing the prey deep into the stomach. Swallowing the final tail whole, the snake ends the effective underground hunt. On the arid ground, a fateful encounter begins. The Muserana slowly advances, directly facing the rattlesnake, which is continuously flicking its tongue to probe. Despite facing deadly venom, the Muserana possesses perfect natural venom resistance against snake species in the same region, turning it into the terror of venomous snakes. Utilizing speed, the Muserana bites straight into the enemy's head area. It not only relies on its own venom, but also combines muscular strength to lock tight all resistance possibilities. The powerful constricting force quickly paralyzes the prey's circulatory system. The rattlesnake shakes its warning rattle weakly before being completely subdued by this snake-hunting natural predator. King Cobra versus banded file snake. Under the dry leaves, a life-and-death battle has just been settled. The massive predator has launched the deciding finishing blow. 90% of the king cobra's food is other snake species. It has perfect snake hunting instinct and techniques. The king cobra has the ability to resist the venom of most snake species in its living area, helping it confidently face even extremely venomous species. The cruel meal closes, a clear testament to the absolute dominant status on this forest floor. King snake versus rattlesnake. The rattlesnake is inherently a terror to many species, but today it faces its greatest natural enemy. With a keen sense of smell, the king snake identifies prey not through vision, but through scent particles. It slithers along the rattlesnake's spine, a typical probing behavior before using its strongest weapon, which is muscular strength. When the time comes, the king snake attacks directly into the head to neutralize the ability to bite back. Immediately, it coils its body into extremely tight rings. The pressure from these constriction rings is many times greater compared to regular predatory snake species. Despite the rattlesnake's efforts to struggle, every time it exhales, the king snake tightens further to eliminate the oxygen source. The king snake possesses a special ability. In the blood of the king snake, there are special enzymes helping neutralize the protein toxins in the rattlesnake's venom, rendering the rattlesnake's counterbites useless. The killer instinct and toxin immunity have turned the king snake into the absolute winner in this life and death encounter. Python versus goat. Lying amidst the vegetation, a reticulated python is holding tight its hunting result. The python does not wait for the prey to die of suffocation. The extremely strong constricting force of up to 100 psi causes a sudden increase in blood pressure, making the goat's heart stop beating and the brain paralyzed in just a few minutes. The python possesses hundreds of sharp, backward curving teeth. When swallowing, each side of the jaw will move independently, pulling the goat deep into the throat like a conveyor belt. To process the giant amount of protein, the python's organs, such as the heart, liver, and kidneys, can double in size in a few days to support the extremely fast metabolic process. King snake versus copperhead. The copperhead falls into a position of being locked tight by the king snake. Every time the king snake strikes, the copperhead exerts all its reflexes to dodge, continuously moving its head aiming to prevent a deciding bite. The king snake is not in a hurry. It uses its longer body to press close, creating a gradually narrowing siege. It waits for the moment the opponent is exhausted, or leaves a loophole in a head movement rhythm to launch the deciding bite. The confrontation closes exactly according to the rule of endurance of nature. Python versus pig. Under the dry grass canopies of the flooded region, a sounder of wild boars is rooting the soil, foraging for food. Hidden in the grass, a large python camouflages perfectly. This is a cold-blooded ambush master, relying on absolute silence to wait for the prey to step into the crosshairs. The distance between the two species gradually narrows. The pigs are still not conscious of the danger of the one right next to them. In just a split second, the python darts forward and snatches a piglet. The massive pressure makes the blood vessels stop circulating, forcing blood to ooze from the piglet's snout. An average wild boar can provide energy for the python for 2 to 3 months. And they will find a quiet place, then become a lazy bones until they get hungry. snakes fight to the death. On the ground, two white snakes are wrapping tightly around each other in a fierce territorial battle. Not relying on venom, this snake species uses pure muscular strength to subdue each other. The bleeding wounds on their heads prove this is a real battle and not just a bluff. Despite carrying no venom, their jaws possess hundreds of sharp, backward curving teeth, creating a trap that locks the opponent tight. Tension rises as both continuously launch lightning-fast strikes. Although the bite force is not strong, the rapid and continuous attacking pace makes the opponent gradually weaken from blood loss. The two bodies coil and squeeze each other. Every rap aims to compress the chest, cutting off breathing and draining the opponent's stamina. This is purely an endurance race. Whoever has a better tolerance threshold will be the winner. After exhausting their strength without being able to take down the opponent, the survival instinct speaks up. One accepts giving up and retreats, yielding the dominance to the more stubborn one. Water moccasin versus rattlesnake. Along the dry stream bank, the rattlesnake slithers across the rocky patch. It is starting a new day with hunting trips. However, a water moccasin has sniffed out the target and slithers out to confront it. With lightning speed, the moccasin lunges in to crush the opponent. Both are venomous, but the moccasin utilizes its size advantage. It bites accurately into the rattlesnake's neck, subduing the sharp fangs and injecting venom to paralyze the prey. The moccasin has the ability to partially resist the venom of other snake species, helping it confidently maintain the bite. The body-ravaging venom spreads extremely fast, tearing apart muscle bundles and blocking the bloodstream, making the rattlesnake lose its ability to resist in just a blink of an eye. The water moccasin is not in a hurry to eat. It steps back and patiently observes. Only when the opponent has completely collapsed does the hunter feel assured to begin the meal. The moccasin opens its flexibly jointed jaws, swallowing the opponent from the head to help the prey's scales lay flat, easily sliding through the esophagus. In the wild world, the one carrying a deadly weapon is not necessarily the ultimate winner. Snake versus horned lizard. Amidst the hot, dry ground, the egg-hunting snake is starting its hunt. A female horned lizard stands still by her nest of eggs, looking very tiny, but what she is guarding is her entire future.
Another predator, a coach-whipped snake.
When the snake approaches, she does not run away immediately. An unexpected lunge is launched, enough to create. Distance and disrupt the opponent's attacking direction, but not enough to end it.
Enough.
Right after, she changes her state almost instantly. Her breathing rhythm slows down to a barely noticeable level. This is not panic, but playing dead. In nature, counterattacking is not always the right choice. Sometimes, surviving comes from turning oneself into something not worth attacking. Snake versus centipede. On the rough, dry gravel, the confrontation erupts as soon as the centipede and the snake close in on each other. The centipede utilizes its multi-legged body to grip and quickly bites into the snake's body, injecting venom through its front pair of venomous pincers. The centipede does not bite with its mouth, but uses its two front legs modified into a pair of extremely strong pincers to inject venom. This pair of pincers can easily pierce through the snake's skin.
The battle.
But the snake does not attack in a hurry. It waits for the exact moment. When the centipede reveals a loophole, the snake launches an extremely fast strike, aiming straight at the head. The snake slowly slithers away, ending the confrontation with precision instead of rushing. King Cobra versus snake. Not just an assassin, the King Cobra is also a master bioengineer. The process of a king cobra swallowing other snake species is a display of the specialized hunting technique of a cannibalistic species. The two halves of the king cobra's lower jaw are not fused, but connected by elastic ligaments. When swallowing, each side of the jaw will alternately walk forward, embedding the fangs into the prey's body and pulling it gradually into the throat. Before swallowing, the king cobra's venom has already begun to decompose the victim's internal tissues from the inside to soften the prey. Even when swallowing extremely venomous snakes like kraits or vipers, the king cobra's stomach remains safe. Extremely strong digestive enzymes will neutralize the prey's venom before it can seep into the blood through the intestinal wall. Cobra versus lizard. In front of the cobra, the lizard stands absolutely still, trying to blend into the environment to avoid being detected. This is a familiar survival reflex because many predators only react strongly to movement. But the deciding moment comes when the lizard unexpectedly runs away. It is that sudden movement that triggers the cobra's attacking reflex. It immediately lunges forward, bites and controls the prey before the distance can widen. With neurotoxic venom, the cobra does not need to constrict. It holds tight until the prey loses its reflexes, then slowly enjoys the prize. Speckled black snake versus ringneck snake. The speckled black snake holds the ringneck snake tight, starting to swallow from the head to completely control the prey's moving direction.
That's what I was wondering, like if they rip it off.
The ringneck snake has venom in both its rear fangs and neck glands, a type of toxin accumulated through eating venomous species.
That's the regular one. That's the regular one.
He's got it.
However, the digestive system of the speckled black snake is extremely strong. It can decompose all types of toxic proteins as soon as the prey slides down the esophagus.
After he's done, we should just leave him.
Although not as massive as a python, the speckled black snake has the strongest constricting force in proportion to its body size in the snake world. It wraps many coils around the ringneck snake's body, squeezing the chest tight, causing the opponent's circulatory system to be paralyzed before starting to swallow. In the world of cannibals, the stronger one lies not only in venom, but also in immunity and absolute muscular strength.
Burying his head.
Chicken versus cobra. In a narrow corner, the hen faces 3 cobras. She wisely turns her back to the wall to neutralize the risk of being ambushed from behind. The snakes deploy their signature threatening posture. By expanding their neck ribs to flare their hoods, they create an illusion of massive size, continuously rearing high, aiming to mentally overwhelm the opponent. Despite the venom, the chicken utilizes the keen reflexes of bird species. Her sharp eyes help her time the right moment, launching a peck with her hard, horny beak right when a snake gets close. The resistance makes the snakes hesitate. In nature, predators usually avoid taking risks with strongly resisting targets because a small wound to the head or eye can also be fatal. Using a static tactic, she is successfully holding off the dangerous predators. King cobra versus python. The king cobra slithers low on the ground, tracking the scent of the python ahead. It does not rush in, but silently closes in from behind, keeping a distance close enough to strike accurately.
The meal is a lead ball pipe.
The forked tongue is like a biological radar collecting scent signals, allowing the king cobra to pinpoint the prey's location extremely accurately.
The more the latter.
The moment an opening is revealed, the death strike is launched, locking the prey tight before it has time to react. With an amount of neurotoxic venom per bite 20 times greater than other snake species, the king cobra quickly paralyzes the opponent, eliminating the risk of being counter-constricted. The king cobra has a special ability to orient the prey's ribs when swallowing, helping the long body not fold up, thereby making the swallowing process happen smoothly and consume less energy. The fact that a king cobra swallows a python of equivalent size will make its belly full for many consecutive months without needing to go hunting. King cobra versus rat snake. On the damp ground, the king cobra begins a new day with cannibalistic hunts. A rat snake is perched on a tree branch. It completely does not realize the danger approaching. A precise and brutal attack. The king cobra bites tightly onto the opponent. The victim struggles fiercely, but is completely helpless against the overwhelming bite force from the giant enemy. The king cobra's extremely potent neurotoxic venom quickly invades, paralyzing the respiratory system and neutralizing all defensive efforts. The hunter holds the head tight, controlling the entire situation until the opponent is completely paralyzed. The swallowing process takes place. Thanks to the unfused jawbone structure and elastic ligaments, the king cobra easily expands its mouth to swallow another snake whole from head to tail. The muscles continuously contract, slowly pushing the victim's entire body into the digestive system. At the shallow puddle, the king cobra reveals its cannibalistic hunting instinct. It uses its venomous fangs to sink deep into the rat snake's body, starting to pump the fatal neurotoxic venom. The bite to the opponent's neck aims to hinder breathing rhythm, while a large amount of venom will be pumped into the victim's body continuously. With a venom amount 20 times greater than ordinary snake species. Although the toxicity is not too strong, the giant dosage has compensated for that weakness of the cold-blooded hunter. When the venom seeps deep, the rat snake is completely paralyzed. The king cobra leisurely drags the prey's carcass onto a dry rock ledge to start the meal. It swallows from the head, so the rat snake's scales do not get stuck in the jaws during the swallowing process. Their two lower jaw halves are not fused by bone, but connected to each other by extremely elastic ligaments. They will alternately push the victim inside without needing external impact force. On an old brick wall, a rat snake cautiously probes. It opens its mouth wide, creating a defensive posture, signaling it has realized the giant threat approaching. It seems the rat snake has been cornered against the wall. In a dilemma, the tiny prey risks its life rearing high to threaten the larger predator. The king cobra does not hesitate at all, launching an accurate strike and dragging the victim down to the ground. Knocked down, the rat snake struggles fiercely, trying to coil and twist to find a gap to escape. But all resisting efforts become useless before the overwhelming power and controlling skills of the king cobra. Unlike other species that only pump venom in a flash, the king cobra will bite and hold for a very long time on the opponent's body to secrete a giant amount of venom, making the prey paralyzed as fast as possible. The acid in the king cobra's stomach is so strong that it can completely dissolve the prey's bones, scales, and teeth over several days. In nature, the food chain is always ruthless, and the stronger one will claim the right to survive. King snake versus copperhead. The king snake is displaying the power of a top-tier predator. Although the copperhead possesses dangerous venom, in front of this king, that weapon is completely ineffective thanks to an innate venom immunity. With a constricting force calculated in extremely large pressure units, the king snake quickly paralyzes the opponent's circulatory system. Every time the copperhead exhales, the king snake tightens a bit more, not letting the opponent regain oxygen. With maximum pressure, the copperhead will soon fade away due to lack of oxygen and cardiac arrest even before being swallowed. When swallowing a long copperhead, The king snake does not let the prey lie straight in its belly. Instead, extremely strong esophageal muscles will compress and fold the prey's body in a wave-like shape right inside the throat. Such a high-quality meal allows the king snake to not need to hunt for about 1 month. One meal exchanged for a month of peace, that is the price of power in the natural world. King Cobra versus Snake. Under the forest canopy, a fierce clash is taking place. A giant king cobra is cornering a tiny striped snake. It originally intended to find a retreat path, but the ruthless hunter has no intention of letting go. Despite being completely mismatched in size, survival instinct forces the prey to turn back and face it. The enemy's physical overwhelm puts the small snake in an extremely disadvantageous position. By coiling its body tight like a spring, it both maintains a safe distance and accumulates force to launch lightning-fast counter-strikes. The cold eyes of the hunter have locked onto the target, waiting to launch a finishing blow. However, the fatal strike misses by a hair's breadth, creating a gap for the lucky prey to escape successfully. Black racer versus cottonmouth. Under the damp, decaying leaf layer, a cottonmouth snake with its characteristic pattern is foraging for food. It completely does not know the one about to confront it is right nearby. The black racer, an active predator, because it is not completely immune to venom, the racer is forced to attack in a flash to subdue the prey before being bitten back. The cottonmouth launches a counter-strike. But the hunter immediately turns the tables. It quickly retracts its body to dodge, then bites tightly onto the opponent's head. Unlike the king snake, the black racer is not completely venom resistant. If bitten by the cottonmouth during the fight, the black racer can still die. Therefore, its tactic must be fight fast, win fast. In this fierce race, there is no room for pity. Only the stronger and faster one will claim the right to continue writing its story. Spider-tailed horned viper versus bird. The barren limestone canyon is a place where temperatures are often at extreme levels. Life here requires special survival skills. Crevices conceal arthropods like camel spiders. They are also a food source, attracting small birds stopping by to rest. Nestled on the cliff is the spider-tailed horned viper. Its rough stone-colored scales help it become absolutely invisible. The real weapon lies in the tail bearing elongated auxiliary scales, accurately mimicking the shape and crawling rhythm of a spider. The bird's hunting instinct is triggered by the lure. Right when the bird approaches, the snake launches a strike with lightning speed. The pouncing force and venomous fangs quickly neutralize the target. This luring tactic optimizes energy significantly. Instead of expending effort to pursue, the snake only needs to lie motionless and manipulate the prey's vision. This snake species can lie still in one place for many consecutive days, only moving the spider tail. Their camouflage ability is so perfect that even when the bird stands a few centimeters away, it completely does not realize the peril. Another bird swoops down and repeats a similar mistake. The hunter easily takes down the target, maintaining its existence amidst the harsh land. Snake fight. Under the grass carpet, two snakes enter a natural clash. The horny scales slide against each other, creating tight constriction coils. Instead of using venom, they utilize primal muscular strength. The muscle bundles along the body contract strongly, trying to pin the opponent's head down to the ground to prove authority. Tension explodes as both thrash and flip fiercely. The entire weight is concentrated on the twisting intertwines, draining the stamina of both sides. When energy depletes, attacks are launched, but the pace gradually slows down. Even though the muscles have loosened, they still continue to stick close, aiming to maintain control of the situation. Owl versus hawk. Deep in the foliage, a horned owl is lying peacefully on a dry branch nest. Unexpectedly, a red-tailed hawk swoops down to attack. Receiving the preemptive strike, the owl immediately spreads its magnificent wingspan. This is a natural defensive posture aimed at enlarging its body, threatening to make the enemy falter. This bird species usually does not build its own nest, but reuses the old nests of other species as breeding grounds. And perhaps this nest once belonged to that hawk. The enemy does not give up. The second attack takes place decisively. With a dive of nearly 200 kilometers per hour, the hawk completely overwhelms, knocking the owl out of the disputed area. The conflict closes. The new ruler stands proudly in the middle of the nest, calmly taking over the ideal launch pad it just won. Lizard versus bird.
Ideal.
The sunny riverbank looks peaceful, but nature only allows that to exist for a moment. The real threat right now does not come from crocodiles, but a black shadow silently crawling on the sand. A monitor lizard approaches. This is a notorious egg thief. The bird pair immediately confronts it to shield the fragile nesting area. They not only call out, but also attack the monitor lizard's hearing with deafening sound frequencies, combined with spreading their wings wide to look twice as large as reality.
Making themselves look big and scary.
This causes the monitor lizard's nervous system to be disrupted, making it hesitate in attacking. The resilient defense has taken effect. The monitor lizard decides to step back. The bird pair has successfully protected their future generation.
The monitor could come back.
Buzzard versus magpie. From high above, the buzzard begins its sullen hunt. With vision 8 times superior to humans, it not only sees, but also locks onto the target, which is the magpie from a distance of hundreds of meters. Everything happens in a blink of an eye. The razor-sharp talons, along with a strength 5 to 10 times the grip force of an adult human male, have made the prey die right on the spot. The hunter begins the cruel grand feast. The characteristic hooked beak, perfectly evolved like a pair of surgical scissors, quickly plucks the feathers and severs every shred of meat. In this world, the life of this one is maintained by the death of another. Kukall versus mouse. The Kukall, a very lazy flyer, they spend most of their time running and scouring on the ground. Keen vision helps it catch the mouse in the trench completely. But now is not the time to eat yet. The mouse's bones are very hard and sharp. If swallowed immediately, while the mouse is still alive or with its hard skeleton intact, the Kukall can easily tear its esophagus. It tortures the prey to shatter the bone joints, turning the mouse into a soft mass, helping the swallowing process happen more smoothly. Inherently vigilant, it holds the prey, moving through many places to avoid prey robbers. Only when feeling safe does it bring the prize down to a hidden corner to enjoy the protein-rich meal. Crow versus snake. On the grass, a tense clash takes place. The black crow approaches the enemy coiled right under the sapling. That is a snake in a defensive posture. Maintaining the tight coiled posture continuously requires a lot of energy, and the crow seems to understand this well. When the snake coils its body tight and rears its head up, that is the optimal defensive posture.
Hard to tell.
It minimizes its body area to protect vital organs and creates a spring ready to launch a thunderous strike forward. It patiently toys around to make the opponent gradually exhaust. The snake unexpectedly launches a strike. Although its lunging speed is extremely fast, the keen reflexes of the bird still help the crow dodge easily. With patience and speed, the black crow is completely controlling the pace of this survival battle. In the small nest, a young cuckoo bird has just hatched.
Species and behaviors exhibit of other bird species, leaving the responsibility of raising its young.
Right upon birth, its sensitive back area automatically triggers a bracing reflex, pushing the surrounding eggs out.
Throws the other chicks or eggs out of the nest. This behavior is
With incredible strength, the blind outsider continues to toss out the native chicks.
offspring would have. The cuckoo chicks survive, ensuring the continuation of a species.
This fierce purge is the core strategy helping the young cuckoo completely monopolize the care of the foster parents.
Strategy standing out as one of the most lengths to which nature will go to ensure the survival of the fittest.
Although blind and featherless, Natural reflexes will help it use its back to lift eggs or chicks to the edge of the nest, then toss them down. After eliminating the competitors, the baby cuckoo bird will receive all food from the foster parent birds and usually grows much faster compared to normal chicks. This behavior, although cruel, is an effective evolutionary strategy, helping ensure the survival rate of the cuckoo species. The cuckoo bird species does not raise its own chicks, but lays eggs in the nests of other bird species. The host birds do not realize the difference, so they still incubate the egg and raise the chick like their own child. The survivor has now occupied the entire nest space, preparing to leave to dominate the sky. Bird versus snake. Under the foliage, a fragile small nest appears. The mother bird carefully brings grasshoppers and forest butterflies back to feed the hungry chicks. One would think the chicks' lives would be peaceful until the mother bird is absent. A snake silently slithers to approach the bird's nest. There is absolutely no warning sound. It launches a strike, clamping tight and swallowing whole the young chicks that haven't even grown down feathers yet. Snakes have no outer ears, but they sense vibrations extremely sensitively from the ground and tree branches. The mother bird flies back carrying red berries, completely unaware of the tragedy that just happened. She is confirming whether it was caused by a snake or other predatory mammal. If smelling a snake, the mother bird usually will abandon that nest permanently because she knows this location has been marked and is no longer safe for the next brood. Giant petrel versus penguin. Giant petrels are not only seabirds, but also play a role as top scavengers and opportunistic predators. They do not hesitate to eat prey alive. Unlike eagles that usually finish quickly with talons, giant petrels use their body weight to pin down and use their beaks to pick meat off the prey while it is still moving. Before an abundant food source, this signal has attracted other predators. Small flocks around also approach, cleaning up the leftover scraps. They join forces to tear it apart. The crowd helps break down the meat mass faster. The amount of fat and protein from the carcass is an invaluable energy source. The whole flock concentrates on consuming maximum food before the sea waves wash everything away. Raven versus osprey. On the osprey's nest, the mother bird seems to realize something unusual. A black shadow dashes past, and the mother bird quickly chases after it. But she has encountered the nest-leaving trick of the raven. The raven approaches the osprey's nest. The intruder does not attack decisively, but continuously probes the chick's reaction by pulling feathers, causing disturbance, then immediately stepping back. Although known for incredible intelligence, even comparable to the brain of a 5 to 7-year-old child, the raven is still not a hunting species specialized in taking down large-sized targets. Realizing it cannot control the situation, it has to accept retreating. In the wild world, recklessness sometimes only stops at the probing step and does not always bring back a reward. Eagle versus blue heron. Above the tidal mudflat, a bald eagle is hunting down a water bird. The mighty airstrike submerges the target into the water. The eagle immediately uses its most dangerous weapon, razor-sharp talons with a crushing force of up to hundreds of pounds per square inch. They pierce through the wet down feathers, locking the prey tight. The water bird flaps its wings desperately to escape, but is completely neutralized before the muscular strength of the enemy. The waterlogged prey's weight is too massive to soar into the air. Instead of giving up, the eagle displays amazing adaptability. A clear testament to endurance and smart tactics. Skillfully bringing the giant amount of food onto the sandbank, the eagle establishes absolute dominance. Hawk versus pigeon. The hawk tails closely behind the pigeon. A high-speed pursuit takes place entirely in the air. The pigeon continuously changes direction, abruptly dropping low, then soaring high, aiming to shake off the predator. The hawk does not launch a pounce immediately. It maintains a steady distance, forcing the victim to fly in a prolonged state of extreme tension. But the pounce at a distance too far out of reach caused the hunter to lose its rhythm and miss the opportunity. In these types of dogfights, victory does not come from a lightning-fast takedown blow, but is decided by whoever drains their stamina first. Under the forest canopy, a large beehive hangs suspended. The bee swarm flies around, protecting the territory, not yet realizing the dangerous enemy approaching from a nearby branch.
Oriental honey buzzards.
With sturdy legs, these disruptors deliver a blow, tearing apart the hive's outer shell. The soldier bees immediately swarm out, tightly surrounding the invader.
But now, with the nest open, they're built to battle killer prey.
But the resistance is completely useless.
But there's more to that.
The hawk possesses head feathers as hard as fish scales, creating an absolute sting-proof armor. The legs covered in horny scales also help the hawk become immune to venom in areas of direct contact when breaking the hive.
Their feathers.
The bee swarm tightly surrounds the hunter's back, but has to remain helpless.
A raptor could be his last.
The clash begins with a direct suppression maneuver. The predator utilizes its speed advantage and sturdy pincer-like beak, immediately controlling the match.
Quite unlike any other.
Survival instinct makes the snake continuously twist its body to counterattack. However, the legs of this bird species are exactly a perfect natural shield, helping it always maintain a safe distance from the striking range and venom of the target.
That bites back.
Instead of using talons to tear meat like many other birds of prey, it uses a characteristic tactic: thrashing the prey. The strong neck muscle mass helps it swing the snake, thrashing it hard against the ground many times. This massive concussion force quickly breaks the prey's rib system and spine.
Make no mistake.
This abundant protein source is immediately transferred to the chicks, ensuring optimal development in the early stages of life.
As any other bird of prey.
On a high wall ledge, a kestrel stands next to a pigeon carcass. With a tiny physique, it will usually hunt appropriately sized prey. The hunter carefully pecks at the meat. Sharp eyes continuously scan the air. But in exposed positions like this, risks are things that can happen. A large falcon swoops down like a bullet. The extremely fast diving speed of up to 300 kilometers per hour turns their body into a deadly weapon. The strong pair of talons immediately locks the opponent tight. Superior size and strength help the latecomer snatch the meal and completely overwhelm the tiny bird. Puffin versus gulls. The feeding journey of the puffin always harbors risks when its beak is clamped full of fresh fish. Gulls, the uninvited pirates. Upon landing, the puffin immediately falls into the crosshairs. With a body twice as large, the herring gull relies on its robust strength to blatantly rob right in front of the nest. Even so, the most persistent and cunning enemy is the black-headed gull flock. They scream deafeningly, tightening the encirclement blocking the retreat path, paving the way for the experienced ones to rush in and snatch the food. The rapid ambush causes the victim extreme panic. Despite being continuously mugged, puffins still proactively nest next to this bandit flock, because gulls are extremely aggressive when chasing away eagles or foxes. Losing a few fish is like paying a protection fee in exchange for a safe barrier for the entire population. One side drains its strength hunting, the other cunningly collects protection money right at the door. Albatross versus shark. An albatross flock is struggling on the sandy beach. Possessing giant wingspans, they are excellent windsurfers in the air, but extremely clumsy when moving on the water surface.
In the air as their parents, who fly so effortlessly.
At the beach, the whole flock is resting, preparing for the next migration trip. They usually need a long-running start on the water surface, along with wind power to take off.
The best they appeared.
When the sea is slightly rough, gaining momentum to leave the water surface requires consuming a lot of energy. Seizing the opportunity, the shark launches an ambush from below. The jaws, with a 6,000 psi bite force, are trying to reach the victim. The poor bird is unexpectedly dragged into a mismatched life and death battle. Despite the effort to flap its wings to create thrust to salvage a chance of survival, the plumage gradually soaking in water and the weight of the shark make escaping hopeless. Eagle versus hawk. Amidst the dense foliage on a high treetop, a large nest made of dry branches perches in midair. The mother eagle meticulously manages the nest, cleaning and ensuring safety for the whole family. The scene seems peaceful, yet the wilderness always harbors unpredictable incidents. Keen vision 5 times that of a human helps her quickly notice anomalies in the space. An audacious hawk, but the mother eagle was not in time to stop it from carrying the chick away. Suffocating space. The Lord of the Sky at this moment only knows to cling to the hope of the last fragile life. The enraged eagle spreads her wings, soaring up, determined to demand blood debt, but continues to fall into the trap of the cunning enemy. Owl versus falcon. Inside an artificial nest box, a barn owl is taking refuge. Unexpectedly, a falcon enters this space, opening a rare territorial clash. The falcon quickly reveals its instinctive self-defense reflex. It opens its sharp beak and screeches. In nature, this hooked beak is a sharp, prey-tearing weapon, now becoming a frontal threatening tool. The falcon spreads its wings wide, creating a shield layer covering the entrance. It tries to fan out its body to intimidate and maintain a safe distance. The cramped space makes the falcon unable to utilize its aerial flying speed advantage, forcing it to maintain a passive defensive posture on the ground. With a physical advantage, the barn owl completely overwhelms the falcon, pinning the intruder tight under its broad wings. Right when noticing a loophole, the barn owl unexpectedly counterattacks. The curved beak is now used to control the opponent's legs. The daytime predator finally has to submit before the power of the ruler of the night. What you have just watched shows that, in the world of venomous snakes, danger does not only come from ordinary hunts. When the opportunity arises, even predators standing near the top of the food chain can become targets in deadly and unpredictable encounters. If you found this video fascinating, please hit like. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to continue exploring many more thrilling wildlife moments. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video.
Man, he's got a lot in there. You can tell by the thickness